This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
For your information, a local physician is here to talk about mumps in the wake of a suspected case in the Hazleton Area School District. It's the weekend, and thank you for spending some time with us at FYI. I'm Ken Carey. You'll meet some more of the crew shortly. A special program to honor all veterans will take place on Veterans Day at Hazleton City Hall. The program will take place at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, November 11th. This is video from last year's program. This year's event will feature a gun salute, a presentation of flowers, a blessing, and a keynote speaker. Students from the Helping Hand Society will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone is encouraged to come out to Hazleton City Hall on November 11th at 11 a.m. to honor all those who have served and those who continue to serve for our freedom. This Sunday, November 2nd, the Hazleton Elks Lodge number 200 will host a free dinner for all area veterans. The pork and sauerkraut dinner will be served from noon until 5 p.m. at the lodge at 635 East Broad Street in Hazleton, across from the hospital. There will also be a short Veterans Day program at 1 p.m. All veterans dine for free. The cost for non-veterans is $7. Children under 12 are $4. No reservations are needed. Just a reminder that this weekend marks the end of daylight savings time. Make sure your clocks are turned back 1 hour when you go to bed on Saturday. Hazleton Fire Chief Donald Leschko also reminds everyone to make sure that you change the batteries in your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors at the same time. Members of the Roman Catholic faith are celebrating two special feast days this weekend. November 1st is celebrated as All Saints' Day, while Sunday, November 2nd is All Souls' Day. We spoke with Bishop Joseph Bambera from the Diocese of Scranton about the significance of both.
We recognize them set apart in a special way, and yet we're all called to be saints. And this feast day is really what we all hope to experience someday. Hopefully we'll all be honored on All Saints' Day, not because we've been set apart by the church, but because we lived as faithful disciples. And the Feast of All Souls simply gives us the opportunity to pray for our brothers and sisters who have gone to the other side before us. It's a reminder to us of what we refer to as the communion of saints, that we believe we're connected to people in this world and in the next through faith.
All Saints' Day is a holy day of obligation for members of the Roman Catholic faith. Earlier this week, FYI talked with a local pediatrician about the suspected case of mumps found at the Drums Elementary Middle School. Lisa Sugart sat down with Dr. James Cajano to get answers to your questions.
We've told you about the one suspected case of mumps in the Hazleton Area School District. Well, now we're talking with a local pediatrician to find out what mumps is all about and what you should know to stay safe. I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. James Cajano, who is a pediatrician with the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Dr. Cajano, first of all, what does a suspected case of mumps mean?
A suspected case of anything by the CDC definition means that the information that's presented to the physician when he or she examines the patient suggests that diagnosis. Okay, so when a doctor says, this is my clinical suspicion, it means based on what I heard from the patient, what I found on physical examination, this is what I think is going on. Now, if the laboratory data doesn't support that diagnosis, but the physical examination findings are consistent, then by the CDC definition, it's a suspected case.
Okay. Now, for anyone who is worrying about this, what are the symptoms of mumps?
Mumps is a paramyxovirus that's spread by droplet spray, so sneezes and nasal secretions, and the symptoms are pretty nonspecific. Fever, body aches, that sort of respiratory symptom. The cardinal symptom, the thing that everybody looks for, of course, is the chipmunk cheek thing that kids get, and what's actually physically happening is the parotid salivary gland, which kind of sits in front of the ear and kind of has a little piece that wraps around behind the ear, gets swollen, okay? In mumps, one side can be swollen or both sides can be swollen. The issue, though, is that there are a lot of other viruses, some pretty prevalent at various times of the year, that can cause the same kind of clinical picture. So parainfluenza virus can do this. Influenza A can do this. Coxsackie virus can do it. There are some really oddball viruses that can do it. A blockage in the tube that allows that saliva to be drained into the mouth can make the salivary gland get bigger. It's a very common problem in elderly patients, for example, who get dehydrated. Okay, so it's not always infectious. So in this case, the issue is, how do you discern whether this is the tip of a very much bigger iceberg with more to come, or just a sporadic case? And as sophisticated as the laboratory testing is, the CDC tells us that it's not, completely foolproof in real time. You can make the diagnosis after the fact as you gather more information and see how that patient's immune response mounts itself. But in real time, there's very little that you can do to say that this is definitely a case of mumps parotitis as opposed to parainfluenza parotitis. And so, since mumps is a reportable illness, once that clinical diagnosis is made, it gets reported to the Department of Health. They apply the CDC guidelines, and very appropriately, they said this was a suspected case. And so that triggers a whole series of precautionary measures, including the exclusion of the index case, the patient, from school, and exclusion of any other person who is susceptible to the illness from that environment. So in this case, when parents have opted not to immunize their children against mumps for whatever reason, that kid's out of school for 28 days. It's a big chunk of learning at risk.
And you said this is no way considered an outbreak unless you have more than one case, right?
Right. You can't call it an outbreak if there's only one.
Okay. So parents who are watching this and, may have been concerned when they first heard that, should they be worried in any way, shape, or form?
If your kid's been immunized, you've got nothing to worry about at all. The school district did take the precaution of getting this youngster out of school. And the problem is that there is a time period before the patient develops their swelling that they're actively shedding the virus. That's what we're all concerned about. As time passes, the clock is ticking, and the likelihood that we're going to see more cases gets less and less. I think that at this point, you just have to be aware of what the symptoms look like. Basically, what happens is if the youngster develops any kind of facial swelling, then you got to get him to see someone who can make the diagnosis for you. Hopefully your child's personal physician. But the other part of this is there isn't any treatment for this. The problem is there are complications. 7 or 8 or 9 days after a person gets the mumps, if you're post-pubertal, if you're an adolescent or older, you can get orchitis. There are, and in rare cases, folks can get an encephalitis from mumps. That's why we try so very hard to decide, is this really mumps, or is this another one of these look-alike viruses that doesn't cause any of those other side effects?
Lastly, do you think maybe this is a wake-up call for some parents that it will at least put immunizations in a positive light?
I would hope that it would. Immunization is the innovation of the last and this century going forward that's going to make the biggest impact on the infectious part of what we do. And it's in part why the character of primary care in this country is so different from the way it was 50 years ago. We don't see these illnesses in part because of the immunization programs in this country, so that we would hope that people would be more attuned to taking advantage of this very, very, very important public health intervention.
Dr. Cajano, thank you so much for giving us some important information on mumps.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Lisa. Now here's what you'll see this weekend in the Standard Speaker. 50 years ago, Hazelton's can-do attitude, and I did air quotes around can-do, but you couldn't see them because of the full screen, but just so you know, can-do attitude earned the city a special honor. Read all about it this weekend in the Standard Speaker. After the break, a local church is having a fun fundraiser. Find out about it next. And in sports, we'll get to know Hazelton area running back and 2,000-yard rusher Zach Zukowski a little better.
This is FYI News 13, brought to you by SSPTV and the Hazelton Standard Speaker.
You are invited to come out and win some wonderful prizes as part of the annual Chinese auction at St. Michael's Ukrainian Catholic Church in Shenandoah. Here to tell us all about it today is Monsignor Myron Grabowski from the church, and also Kathy Pengren, who is a member of the church and a volunteer with this wonderful event. Monsignor, we're pleased to have you here today. This is a great event that brings the whole community together for a great cause. So tell us a little bit about the Chinese auction.
The Chinese auction is a program in which we have sponsor on an annual basis to help, again, raise funds for the church. It basically is an outreach to the community to help support us. And this year we've been blessed with over 40 different community organizations and businesses providing items for the auction. And we're so happy to see how it's spreading out. And also one of the features this year is to be able to have people bring in canned goods or food items, that non-perishable, that we may be able to give out to the poor. St. Michael's does have an outreach program which has been really blessed by the Lord. Many people come to it, and especially this time of year of Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, our supplies are low and it's even going to be lower, and we'd like to provide that no one leaves. And one of the more important things to remember is St. Michael's is a parish where all are welcome.
Well, so true. You always tell us that when you are here. And Kathy, this is a fun way to raise money because we know that people in Northeast Pennsylvania like Chinese auctions. So tell us about the day. It's taking place on Sunday, November 9th. What can we expect?
Yes. Well, the doors will open at 12 noon, and it will take place in St. Michael's Hall at 300 West Oak Street in Shenandoah. As I said, the doors open at 12 noon. Admission is $4, but in groups of 3 can purchase tickets for $10. There will be a light lunch available for purchase, and the auction starts at 1:30.
Okay. Can you give us a hint, maybe some of the great items that we could win?
Oh, there are so many wonderful items that you can select to win for men, women, children. Just we have a wonderful variety.
All right, sounds good. Do they have to be present to win?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's a good draw as well, because if they can't be there for that moment that you're drawing the winners, they can still come out and have some great fun. Monsignor, I know your church is very active, has a lot of events constantly going on, and it's like you said, not only to maintain the church, but to help out the community. We have the holidays coming up right now. How do things look? There are a lot of needy people out there right now.
There are quite a few needy people, and almost every day we get someone that comes by that needs food. And like the Lord says, we're not to judge or look down on anyone. We openly receive individuals to help them with their needs. Food-wise, at least we're able to do that, and that's a great blessing through the support and help of many individuals of the parish who constantly every week bring canned goods and food goods and items, and have gotten into a sense of really wanting to give out and to let people see what St. Michael's is, a place where everyone is welcome.
Alrighty, well, we hope you will come out and have fun at the Chinese auction, support a great cause, also bring the canned foods. The Chinese auction taking place Sunday, November 9th. The doors open at noon. The auction is at 1:30. Admission $4, like Kathy said, but if you come in a group of 3, you get 3 for $10, and over 40 businesses and parishioners have donated to make this a wonderful event. So please come out. If you have any questions or want tickets, you can call 570-462-0809. Some great prizes, so come on out to St. Michael's.
It's time for Movie Minute right here on News 13, your weekly look at what's playing at Regal Cinema 10 just outside the Laurel Mall. 3 new releases this weekend. First, Nightcrawler, rated R. An ambitious young crime journalist probes the dark underbelly of Los Angeles in this cynical urban drama. Also, Before I Go to Sleep, rated R. As Christine starts to uncover terrifying truths about her past, she begins to question everything and everyone around her. And finally, Saw celebrates its 10-year anniversary by returning to theaters for Halloween. Still playing John Wick, The Book of Life, The Best of Me, Annabelle, Gone Girl, St. Vincent, The Maze Runner, and Ouija. For all the showtimes, call Regal Cinema 10 at 570-450-7454, or to speak to a movie attendant, call 570-450-7340.
This is FYI News 13 Sports.
Friday night was the final time 21 seniors put on a white helmet with a big HA on the sides. The Hazleton area football team wrapped up their 2014 season on the road against Berwick, and it also marked the end of an extraordinary career for Cougar running back Zach Zukowski.
You know, it didn't take long for me when I got here in the spring to realize that Zach Zukowski was the bell cow. I mean, without question, the leader of our football team. His track record was good. His off-season work ethic was good when he came off of basketball and off a track season. In the summertime he emerged again as well. But I think the thing that really sticks out about Zach Zukowski is his durability. He carries the ball a bunch. He's carried the ball over 25 times on a few occasions this year, plus his pass receptions, plus his kick returns and punt returns, plus the fact he plays defense for us. So he's been a true Iron Man for our program.
Bell cow, Iron Man. Zach Zukowski started out as a Chief.
I played at youth football at the Valley Chiefs down in the Valley.
So in the Valley, all right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big program down there you jump into. Tell me about when you were real little. I mean, were you a running back? Would you play?
I started off as a quarterback, and then from there I went from a running back then on.
What do you like about the position so much? Or when you made the change even when you were little, I mean, what did you enjoy about playing in the backfield?
I just like being the dominant guy. You always get in the ball, and people are like, oh, wow, he's all right, like that.
Zukowski grew up to be the dominant guy for the Cougars. He's rushed for over 2,000 yards in his career and is fourth on the school's all-time rushing list. It's an impressive list that includes current Cougar coach Nate Eachus, who played in the NFL. How did Zukowski make this list?
Well, it's going to start with the line, I believe so. If you don't have a line, you're not going to go anywhere. And if you do have a good line, they'll produce for you, and you just got to make the best of it going into the secondary and then making holes for yourself too.
Spoken like a true running back, but you can tell Zukowski is sincere. Head coach Mike Brennan talked about Zukowski's durability. But how do you coach or practice durability?
He is a naturally physical kid. He's got great balance and great pad level. He knows how to take a hit. You very seldom see Zach Zukowski get really hit hard. He knows when to go down. He knows when to use his forward lean, when to use his power. And that's that's instinctive. The things he does offensively are really instinctive. But he does everything well. That's the thing I think makes him such a good player. He catches the ball well. He can block. He's on the field defensively for us. But without question, his offensive skill set, his ability to be patient and run screens well and shovel passes well and that kind of thing, really make him a special player. And it's he's had a tremendous career here at Hazleton area.
In a few months, the bell cow, Ironman, Chief Cougar will be a high school graduate. Zukowski would like to keep playing football in college. He's left his mark on the Hazleton area high school and the Hazleton area. Do you have any contact with the Valley Chiefs? I mean, do you ever go back down there or see them?
Yeah, actually, the previous high school coach last year, one of our coaches, is now a coach down there. So I go down there, talk with them, have fun with the kids, talk with them too.
When people are flipping through the Hazleton area football program in the coming years, they may look at the Cougars' 2014 season and think it wasn't a success. Zukowski's numbers will jump off the page, but the number of wins won't. However, this may be a stepping stone to plenty of W's for future teams.
Well, it's a building season. We're trying to get the juniors and the sophomores to be leaders for them next year so they can produce more wins next year for the next season.
I wanted to end the story on that thought because next week on FYI, Hazleton area head coach Mike Brennan will talk more about the future of Hazleton area football and just what this year's group of seniors will mean to the legacy of football for the Big HA. Coming up next on FYI, it's Adopt Me from the Hazleton Animal Shelter. Stay tuned. It's the weekend, and I love sitting at a high top, ordering some delicious apps and having a few beverages with my friends at Bottlenecks, where they have an awesome atmosphere with awesome food.
Good evening, everyone, and here's today's Talk of the Town report. First, Nescopec State Park will be holding a homeschool education day, and the topic will be global positioning systems. The event will be held from 9 a.m. to noon, Friday, November 7th. You must register in advance for this program by calling 570-403-2006. And one more quick announcement, St. James Church in Drifton will be holding their Parish Bazaar Saturday, November 8th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. be having homemade food, attic treasures, basket auctions, and much more. The church is located on Route 940 between Freeland and Ebervale, and that's your talk of the town.
Hello again, welcome back to the Hazleton Animal Shelter. Here I am with Greta. Greta is one of the rare purebred Doberman pinschers that's come into our care over the years. And as you can see, she's very friendly, she's very obedient, and she loves people. We know also that Greta here is very good with other dogs because we did a meet and greet with a few potential adopters. Although she does not really know much about fetch or any kind of play, she's very affectionate and prefers to spend most of her time in the company of human beings. For Doberman pinschers, we recommend a bigger yard, probably with a fence. Also, daily walks are a good idea. So we recommend her to anybody who has experience with Dobermans or big dogs. Anybody who has pets already, we'd love to do a meet and greet and see how she gets along with them. But so far, she seems to do great with basically everybody. And here I am in the female colony with a sort of unusual cat. Her name is Pancake, and although she's very loving and affectionate, she's very friendly. She loves to be petted. She's not much of a lap cat, and she's a little bit of a recluse here. She's really good with the other cats and loves to be petted and be around people, but the majority of the time she likes to sort of keep to herself in this little cube or a similar type of bed. Pancake here is very friendly, but as I said, a little bit reclusive, and she does like to hide a lot. So I recommend anybody who's interested in adopting Pancake have something like a cube or a bed, something she can curl up in and hide in occasionally. Also, she does very well with other cats and animals, so she would be a perfect cat for experienced pet owners or for first-timers as well. And that's it for this week's animals. If anybody's interested in the cat or dog we've shown you this week, or any of the others that need a home, please come on down to 101 North Poplar Street here at the Hazleton Animal Shelter.
I don't want to say the M word, but Monday will come and we will be here. FYI will return next week and we will have the final Cole scale for high school football, so check out that and more on Monday. Until then, take it easy, everyone.